Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Talk It Out with D&D, where we keep it real, raw, and relatable every single week. It's your girl, Denise Murray, and of course, I got my co-host, Miss Day All Day, right here with me. Now, tonight, we are diving deep into something that hits close to home for everybody, and that is forgiveness. We say we've moved on, we say we've let it go, but we really forgiven? Because sometimes it's not that we've healed, it's just that we've gotten quiet. It's not forgiveness. What that's really called, it's distance, it's avoidance, or it's suppression. So tonight we're going to talk about what forgiveness really looks like, not just in words, but in the heart, in your actions, and in your peace of mind. So, Miss Day, what we want to talk about first is, what does forgiveness really mean to you? Before we get diving deep into anything, the stories or whatever, let's just talk about, what do you think forgiveness really means to you?
Well, that is a good question. It's also a loaded question because for me, what I've come to understand is that forgiveness is not for the other person, but it is truly for me. And that in the process of the forgiveness, that's how you set yourself free, not only in this physical body, but also in the spiritual realm and your relationship with God, who is my higher power. That's who I can speak to. And I've come to understand that I cannot sacrifice, and I truly mean sacrifice my relationship with God over anybody, over any circumstance. And so for me, the forgiveness is releasing it because it is for me. It's not about that person. And if I hold oughts or grudges, then my prayer does not get past the ceiling. My greatest hope in my life is that whenever my transition time comes, I can speak to the Lord about what I've done, how I did it, why I did it, but I still could enter in. Okay. I don't want to be turned away at the gate
Right.
because I could not release unforgiveness. And that's another reason why I think I don't have ulcers. I've had a lot of stuff go on with me, but honey, ulcers is not one of them because I'm holding on to negativity. I got some dark cloud over my head like the little Peanuts character. I'm not dealing with that, but sometimes you hit that nail on the head. We suppress it. We think that it's over. And if you do not rid yourself of it, you will truly be suppressing it. And when soon as you get triggered, it's coming up.
Right. Now that's why I'll say a lot of times we say, like I asked, the question is, what do forgiveness really mean to you? And a lot of times people will say, and I know I'm guilty of this, I will say, oh, I forgave you, I'm over it. My favorite word is, I don't even really use the word forget. I say, I'm over it. It's done. It's over with. I'm over it. I don't care about it no more. Like, that's the words. Those are the words that I know myself that I use when I
Okay.
say, instead of the word really saying forgive. I'm not really saying, even though I'm like, it's supposed to be somewhat quote unquote forgiven, but it's like, and deep down, it's not really forgiven. It's just that I'm letting it go. I'm just like, okay, whatever, it is what it is, type of thing. And I'm just not talking about it. If it's like, and so that's why I say, for me, I think that when it comes to forgiving, I can say, like, we had a conversation earlier, and I was telling you, like, I didn't realize, I was talking to one of a girlfriend of mine years ago, and she was telling me, she was like, I have that was one of the things that I had a problem with, was forgiving. I was like, what you mean? I let stuff go. I ain't holding on. And she's like, no, you really don't. She was like, because when you're around these people, or if things come up, it triggers you. So she
Mhm.
said those type of things, that's not forgiveness. You just not around it. So if you're not around the people that triggers you, or you're not around the people that did something to you, you moved away from that. Or either if you just not talking about it, you never really had that sit down conversation and communicated, and y'all really came to an understanding to say, okay, I let this go, or in my heart I can be around. And she was like, that shows that. And if I get angry or I get emotional when I'm having different conversations, then I really haven't forgave. I just, like I said,
Woo.
let it go. So that's why I'm
Right.
like, and forgiveness is forgiveness for the other person, like you were saying, or do you feel like forgiveness is just for yourself?
Forgiveness is truly for yourself. And the reason
Mm,
I said that, two, three things was coming to mind. Like you said, by you not speaking the words, you're not languaging it out of your mouth. That's another way to kind of just be protective. And you know it's still there on the surface, right? But when they say, here was
mm-hmm,
another thing that my sister that preached this at her daughter's eulogy, was that we always say this too: I forgive, but I don't forget. Well, if you haven't forgot it, then
mm,
it's still in there. And she said when she had to deal with this
right.
thing, it's because you have to clear all of that stuff out of your heart. And that's called the ought. If you, the Bible says, if you got an ought with somebody, with your brother or your sister, you're supposed to go to them, you're supposed to get it together. And before you come trying to bring an offering to the Lord, he said, you lay that thing down at the altar, you go back, get it together, and then come back and see me when it's finished. But what we want to do
Mm,
is say, I forgive you, but I ain't forgetting. So as soon as you make me mad, as soon as I see you, boom, that thing right back from 0 to 60 or 100, right? So this is what I
mm,
shared. Two things. Let me share this. My pastor, rest his soul, Bishop Wilbur Wyatt Hamilton, taught me how to forgive somebody without them saying a word. I don't know if we should have left this to the end,
mm,
but my spirit is feeling it right now. If the way that you forgive somebody without it being no, you see, some of us are sitting around waiting for apologies. We want them to come and tell us they
mm,
sorry. They ain't gonna never be sorry. They want you to be in the barnyard with them. See, some of these people are chickens and we're eagles. You cannot keep expecting a chicken to give an eagle what it needs. That's not even on the same.
mm,
A chicken is in the barnyard pecking that poop all the day long. An eagle was meant to soar. A eagle will get up above a storm and let the wind just elevate it, and it'll get up there and do what it needs to do. It ain't gonna get tore up, it ain't gonna lose no feathers. Just like I told my sister friend today, you walk in a room with a bunch of chickens, you got to know that you're an eagle and you elevate above that thing, right? But let me get back to the story. Here's the thing that
mm.
you, I digress. When you know
Mhm,
that you are going to forgive somebody, because it ain't
mhm,
for them, it's about you. This is what Bishop said. He said, you go to that person and you let them know. You know what? If it's a phone call or if it's a text, please, I want to let you know. I'm asking you, forgive me for any and everything that I may have done to offend you. And I forgive you for any and everything that you did to offend me. And we'll leave it right here with the Lord and we're moving on. Now,
mm,
that other person didn't have to say a word. They didn't have to say nothing. You were just the larger person that said, I'm going to free myself of this filthy, angry spirit that is upon me. I'm going to get free from this. You forgive me, I forgive you, and we moving on. You clap like a roulette dealer, girl. Clap your
mm,
hands and move because now you have freed yourself. You put no expectations on that other person. That other person did not say a word. Matter of fact, if you're looking at them in their face, they're going to be shocked. Like, wow. But they ain't got to say nothing. This is
mm,
freeing you so you can move forward. And I bet you $100 to a dime, a lot of people want you to stay trapped in the fight. They want you to be trapped in the anger. But that's
mm,
not what God wants for you. He wants you to be free. And see, sometimes I tell you, people love it when you down in the mud with them. when you down in the barnyard pecking at the poop with them. They enjoy that. They got nothing to lose. But it's all for you to get your freedom. But isn't that neat? That way that person didn't say nothing and you could just walk off. I'm good. I'm leaving this right here with the Lord. Give it to God. And see, God's going to be pleased with you because you freed yourself of that. And the other
But
person,
I see what you're saying, but what about the people who say, okay, you send that message and you say, I'm gonna please forgive me for everything I've done, and please forgive you. I'm forgiving you for everything that you've done. But what if the person feel like they ain't done nothing? So what about those people who be like, well, I ain't did nothing to this person, so why am I telling them to forgive me?
well, sometimes we know that's a lie from the pit of hell, and we're not gonna get caught up in it. Because see, some people can't admit when they're wrong. And it's gonna shock them that you're coming to them to settle this. If they believe, they can believe whatever they want to believe. That's not your fight. That's no longer your fight. And see, some of us, we press stuff down. A lot of time people don't even know that they offended us because we ain't saying nothing. We just gonna hold it in and be mad. But well, if somebody offends me, you're gonna know about it. And I always tell anybody that I meet, if I ever offend you, please let me know so I can fix it. Let me know so I can fix it because I'm not a mind reader. I say that in relationships, friendships, and family members. Even on your job, if I've done something to offend you in the workplace, let me know. I don't want to do that again. But if you don't have the courage to let a person know that they've offended you, how can they fix it? Right?
Facts. Right.
How they even know that they may not even come from the background that you come from to know that, damn, that's offensive. They don't even have that mindset because they've been offended all their life. They just moving through the world offending people. But if we don't give them a chance to fix it, that's what a conversation. That's what good communicate. Let me calm down. Because girl, I can't stand when people can't communicate. And then they get mad, but you have not communicated what offended you. So they can play games, they can play hide and seek, they hiding from themselves. Because see, I have a spirit of discernment on me. I see it. I see you, I see the game you're playing, and that's why you don't have to admit nothing. And they don't have to admit nothing. They can play around, but they know they're not playing with you because you just called it out. You said for me and for you, we gonna leave it right here. So now they want to keep playing like, oh Ma, what did I do to you?
Now, if you're in the audience right now or you watching right now, I want y'all to go ahead in the chat and put a heart in the chat if you ever said you forgave someone, but deep down you were still carrying that pain. Put a heart in the chat. Just say, I did this. This was me. This was somebody that was me who I said I forgave. I forgave, I forgave, I forgave. But deep down, I was still carrying that pain. And I knew in my heart that I still felt some type of way. So put a heart in the chat if that was you. Because I'm just like, I know it's me. But I want to see how many other people that may be, when it comes to that pain of, knowing like, you forgave the person, but you say you forgave, but you really didn't forgive. You really was like, I still feel some type of way. You know what I mean? But we just say we forgave. So go ahead, put a heart in the chat if you, in the comments or the chat or whatever, if that was you who did that. And then my next question is, do you truly forgive people, or do we just move away, stop calling, and label that piece? Because I know that's me. Like, I will just be like, okay, I'm just over it. I don't talk to this person. I don't communicate with this person. I'm at peace at mind. I'm just not dealing with it. But is that really peace, or is that just me distancing myself from it? What is, you know what I mean? Let's talk about that. Let's share your perspective on that one.
I think that is absolutely a cop out. That's what we do when we want to avoid, and we don't. Some of us don't like confrontation. At this age, at this little grand old age of 62, I don't like confrontation. But if you want to get with me, I can get with you on whatever level you on, right? Got that, that's that STL spirit. We still working, right? The STL will come up to the top and she'll meet you where you at. But the reality is I don't desire to be that person anymore, but I also desire to be honest with myself. I got to tell me the truth first, because if you do not, every time you see them or every time it comes up, it's going to go way up. And then you'll be like, you're going to be back in that box. And that's going to cost you your peace. It could cost you your relationship with God. And think about it. Some of the people that we got odds with, do we really want to give them that kind of power? Ain't no way in the world I'm gonna give somebody that may deem themselves my enemy, my nemesis, the jealous person that's jealous of me. I'm not gonna give you the power to keep me from my God and from getting my blessings past this ceiling. That's crazy to me. That's crazy work. And you got to really be stuck in order to keep letting that happen. And I'm not dogging nobody out or saying that you got no problem. I'm saying I was 8 years out from my mother's death with my sibling. And this is the realization that I came to this year. I've been mouthing and languaging forgiveness, but it ain't been real because I still had cobwebs on my heart. I was still hurt that I could think a family member would do this. Well, oh yeah, they will. Yeah, they will. But am I gonna keep sitting on this ticking time bomb that every time I mention your name, it could blow up? No. I think that's something we have to face, and we got to be honest with ourselves and tell the truth. Are you a chicken? Peck, 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 or are you an eagle? You got to soar above this stuff and let it go. That's my personal opinion. What you think?
Now, Justin Graffy said, when I am empty, I have given. They did not put in or in this. So I am done. So, like I get, and that's why I say, like, what he said, like, he just like, okay, I'm giving. They did not put in on this. So I'm done with it. And so that's what I think. Like, I know with me, sometimes when I go through things with people, I am that person. I think I used to be the one who would try to push myself into wanting to communicate. And I think what distance myself from trying to communicate is because a lot of times people don't want to communicate. So when the person know that they're wrong, they rather make it into an argument. And instead of me arguing with somebody, I became that person who would be just like, you know what? I ain't got time. I'm over it. I'm done. I don't have to deal with this person. My favorite line. They ain't paying my bills. I ain't got to work. And so it's like, you be like, look, I ain't got to deal with them. Like they stay where they at. I stay where I'm at. And it is what it is. And so that's where I think that's the place a lot of times that I will go to when it comes to not trying to have a confrontation with people, not going back and forth with a person, because a lot of times, and I'm gonna just give you one scenario. I had a situation one time with a girl, and the girl, I don't want to put names out there because I don't want to put nobody on blast. But I had a confrontation with this person. The person that I was calling myself, like, sometimes people will take things that you're doing and then spin it in a way that they don't understand what it is that you're doing, but instead of asking questions, they go through assumptions. Let's put it like that. So instead of like, I'm helping this person, I'm trying to go the extra mile for this person. But because this person, in my feelings, I feel like may have had a heart of, had some ego issues going on or jealousy issues going on. And because they were in that place, they didn't see it as help. They just saw me doing something different than what they were doing. So they didn't turn that into confrontation. And then I became two of them people that I just said, because then when the person reached out to me and said some things, the first thing I did was, with the conversation. I'm running, in my mouth. And so now it's like, I'm saying all this, and mind you, I'm getting so angry and I'm calling. So for me, I'm the type of person that I don't want to go through a bunch of text messaging with people when I'm upset. I'd rather
Yeah.
talk to you because I am a communicator. And then sometimes I feel like because the whole situation that happened with that person, it was stemmed through a text. So I'm assuming that she misread the text or didn't understand the text. That's why she took it that way. But instead, when I'm calling her, she wouldn't answer the phone. But instead, she sent me this thesis of a text. And I'm like, the whole time you could have been you writing this, you could have just picked up the phone. So at this point now I'm furious and I'm like, you could have just picked up I'm getting worked up now because now I'm hyped. Now I'm like, this is some BS, you know what I mean?
That Philly
and so,
side coming up.
and so like, sometimes people I'm like, now I'm getting hot, my hands shake. I'm like, oh, I want to go to this person's house. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm mad now. And I'm like, why am I sitting here allowing this heifer to get me this angry? And I shouldn't even got that angry because I know that the person had a misunderstanding. But instead, because she wasn't the person that can say, okay, let me see, maybe I was wrong, or maybe I misunderstood what she said. So let me check this and whatever. But because she didn't do that, it's like now you just got me angrier over that. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm just going. So now it got to the point where I'm like, I'm the type like now, it's like if I'm doing with business with you, I can be very professional and still do business with a person without not one person knowing I have a problem with you. However, I know in my heart, in my mind, that I still have a problem with you, but nobody else is going to see that. Nobody else is going to know about that. But I'm just going to deal with you differently now. You're not going to be as close to me. And that's how I deal with sometimes with people when it comes to that. And if it's like, that's if it's outsiders. Now, if it's family, it's like the same way. I can deal with you. I can be around you. I'm not one of them people that be like, oh, like, because I know I have sometimes some family members like, oh, if such and such is there, I'm not going to be there. Like, I'm not that person because I feel like nobody's going to stop me from going somewhere. Like, if I, so I'm not that person. However, I know sometimes I will be like, just for my peace of mind, I may be like, you know what, I ain't even going. I'm going to just fall back and stay home and chill, you know what I mean? Or something like that, just because I just don't feel like I may not be in the mood for the drama, you know what I mean? So I'd be like, okay, I'm going to fall back when it comes to like different stuff. So like I said, to me, I handle things differently depending on what the relationship of the person is. You know what I mean? You see what I'm trying to say? Like, who it is how I do it. Nikki said I shut down and shut off. That's my safe space. It keeps me in a safe headspace. My mental means the most to me. Right.
Now,
and so
see,
that's what I'm saying.
that's what I was getting ready to say. And I don't know if it was Jonathan or John, who the person who initially started this conversation. And I understand what this queen is saying, because sometimes there's nothing wrong with that. That's the space that I'm in right now, is that I could still pray for you and love you from a distance. I can still pray for you and love you, have the love of God for you from a distance. But that does not mean that I'm required to be entangled with you when I know you mean me no good, right? When I know that you got a spirit of jealousy or envy on you concerning me, I'm not going to let you get that close to me. Because I remember a time when I was saying at first, this family member was stabbing me in my back, just would stab me in my back over these years. We in our doggone 60s now. But now, when all of this stuff happened with my mom, you went for my jugular. You went to slice my throat when my livelihood's on the line. So I'm not going to let you get that close to kill me next, right? Be it physically, spiritually, whatever. But that still does not, what is the word I'm looking for? Negate the fact that we must have our spiritual boundaries in place. You still must be concerned about your physical, your mental, and where you are. The other person does not get the power to dictate that. But I absolutely believe in guarding your spirit, guard your heart. Because after so many times, honey, I tell you, the Bible speak about that 70 times 70, but when you get to be my age, we talking 7,000 times. And me always being the forgiving one. I have no more energy for that, but I also will not give you my power. I'm not going to do that. And people be happy about it. They be happy. They still got, it's just like they got their hands around your throat and you can't breathe. That's what my sister said to me today. She said, it feels like when something was coming up and raising up in her. She said, it feels like even as I'm talking about it, like I'm being choked off, like I can't breathe. That means it's not done. You haven't settled this. And it don't have to be no face-to-face confrontation. But my husband, that praise God for King Day in the chat, he said that forgiveness is a process, but he always tells me, if you're trying to work something out, don't get caught up in a text war. Because them capital letters and all of that texting and woofing that people do, it can escalate the situation. If you can get them on the phone or get a face-to-face, sometimes that's best. But if you know hands may get the flying, then you shouldn't be in their presence. But just split, because sometimes I've had times where I want to just hit people in their throat with the back of my hand. But then I ain't never saw a case. I was happy after my mom's funeral. I didn't catch no cases. I didn't go to jail, but I had a solid man that kept me calm. And the spirit of the Lord say, no, this ain't it. But I understand loving, even just pray for people from a distance. You're going to get a blessing from that because that's lifting your heart. That's lifting your energy. You know what I mean? So, no, I believe in, like I say, I'm out here in Vegas, honey. You clap your hands like a roulette dealer. I ain't had nothing, but it's time to go. And
he
you
said,
got to.
and that's what Alexander Day, he said texting can be taken out of context. My mom says that a lot too. She don't like that texting. Because again, a lot of times with texting, people do take things when you text out of context. Like people don't always, like people will think, like say for instance, you might have accidentally, even in an email, like you ever notice, like sometimes you may forget your caps lock is on, and then somebody be like, why are you hollering at me? And it's like, oh, I wasn't hollering, but I forgot to take my caps lock off, so I'm just sending you a, but see, that's why I said, like, people read things, everybody read things differently.
And exclamation points. One of my pet peeves. Don't send me no capital letters with a bunch of exclamation points. That's a problem.
Right. Now, Ms. Day, now sometimes silence look like peace, but is it really protection?
Oh, that's good. Oh, look, that's a mic drop. Ooh, I think it's both. I think it can be peace because you're not engaging, and especially if you've settled it. If you did what was required of you, because forgiveness is not for the other person, remember? So if you're protecting your peace, that is beautiful. Protect your peace. And what was the other part? If the silence can be good too, because now you're not in a tit for tat. You don't have to go back and forth. There's not a pull struggle. I didn't have to get the last word. Because, see, that used to be me. Remember, I told you, girl, my mom said, don't be putting your hands on people, but I was a verbal assassin. I could assassinate you with my mouth. And if you thought you were coming from me, oh, I'm going to get the last word. And that shot don't get you in the shoulder. It's going to get you in the head. I'm going for headshots. But if you're silent, and you're at peace, then that is a beautiful thing. I think that silence can be very peaceful, especially if you have let it go. Because if you just squashing it down, trying to put a little dirt on top of it, that thing gonna come up out that dirt like Freddy Krueger. It's coming up. Oh yeah. So I think it can be true. I think it can be very, very effective.
She said, I like people to see my face when and read my lips. Hell no. Nikki said, exactly. Don't bust the caps lock on me. Silence speaks louder than words.
Oh,
So
it
yeah,
does.
that's what I'm saying. So I say sometimes with some people, it can be silence. Silence will keep you at peace. And then sometimes not being silent will have you. I think it can be two ways with that. Because sometimes silence can be like, okay, I don't want to deal with it. I'm just going to stay away from it. I'm done with it. I'm over it. And I'm just not going to be around these people. But then another way, you still got that feeling inside. You still feel some type of way because you never let nothing out. You just was silent. Whereas though, even though it's not that you're trying to be confrontational, but if you communicated with that situation and y'all talked about certain things, it's like, okay, at least we, like, what's the word that a lot of people say, when they end in a relationship, they want a closure. So it's like, okay, we say what we have to say, and then that's the closure for either closure for the relationship or closure for that situation. Like, you could have fixed that situation all with a conversation. However, a lot of times if you don't say anything, you still feeling that pain inside because you didn't say anything.
Exactly. And here's the difference. If you're
So that's
dealing
why I
with a
said,
mature person, see, if you're not dealing with a mature person, you're not
mm-hmm,
going to get no closure. You ain't going to get no peace. They going to keep sniping until they get a reaction. But see, here's what the silence also does.
mm-hmm,
You'll find out what kind of person you're dealing with. If you say your piece, if you have the mutual forgive me, I forgive you, we're going to leave it right here. If it, and you leave it alone, if they keep sniping at you and you're not responding, that's an immature person. They wanted you down in the mud, squabbling with them like a pig in the mud. That's what they wanted, and they can't stand silence. But see, don't give them that
mm-hmm,
power. You don't get to dictate my emotions. You don't get to dictate
mm-hmm,
where I'm at. And some people, it messed them up when they ain't got you to fight with no more. But you go
right.
pick another fight, buddy. I am an eagle. Can we get that in our spirits? I am an eagle. You, the scrapper, are a chicken. We should not
Mm-hmm,
be running together. And one of the TD Jake books I heard one time too, I read it somewhere. It said that a turtle and a giraffe cannot run together. They
mm-hmm,
cannot even communicate on the same level. Because if the giraffe keeps trying to put its head down to communicate with a turtle, it will die. The
mm-hmm,
neck will be messed up, it'll be severed, but you round here trying to run with a turtle. And you're
mm-hmm.
a giraffe. You're supposed to be eating and looking up high and eating off the top of these trees. A turtle down here just trying to finish the race and not get stumped. So we got to know who we dealing with and what we're dealing with. Because I'm telling
Right.
you, some people want you to be a Tasmanian devil spinning in the street, confronting and fighting on Facebook and Instagram. And then we gonna roll up. It could get physical. We ain't doing none of that. No.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
That's so true. And I watched that a lot of times. I remember somebody tried me like that. And I was just like, I'm not entertaining it. Like, because sometimes people will try you, you know what I mean? Like, they'll try to get you worked up, and I just was like, okay, I'm not even going to entertain it at all because it's not worth the energy. It's not worth my time or nothing. Colette said people be perpetrating a fraud too. And so and so that's why I say a lot of times we just have to just kind of like know when it's the best time to just say, okay, I'm not entertaining that. I'm just going to
One
keep
call.
it pushing. So it's
I'm
like
walking
there.
up.
So technically, what we were saying then is sometimes there is times where we can say silence is good, and then there's times when you can say, okay, communication is good, depending on the maturity of the person that you're dealing with. But
Exactly.
what happens when you speak to that person and all your old feelings come rushing back? Like, y'all been away from each other for a while, y'all haven't seen each other for a while, and then y'all pop up in each other's face now, and y'all never really fix those problems. Is that a sign that you haven't forgave them?
I think that that will be a telling sign. That will be a very telling sign. And that's what I told my sister friend today. because she's set to see these people like in a family environment, right? And what I said to her,
Mm,
and God gave me this. That's why it's on my heart right now. God's gave me that when you walk into a room full of people, that you got to know who you are. If you
mm,
are representing yourself, and I can say an eagle, I can say a queen, but when you come into that environment, especially if you were the last one in the room, you know you ought to always speak first. If you've entered the room
mm,
last, then you need to speak. Hello, how's everybody doing? I wouldn't take no time to individually key out people, but you got to walk in that room like the eagle, like the queen that you are. You got to rise above all of
mm,
that old stuff. It's got nothing to do with what's going on right now, because this is somebody
mm.
else's function. They invited everybody. You need to present yourself as an eagle when you walk in. And honey, to keep it light, just look at them. They all are chickens. Look at all these chickens in here. But you ain't got to call them chickens. You know they chickens in your mind, but you ain't got no
Uh-huh.
problem with them. Say hello, how's everybody doing? So now you were respectable. You was the last one in the room. You spoke. You
Mm,
with your spouse and your family. Go get you some food to eat. Well, matter of fact, greet whoever you there to support. Give them some nookie smooches. Go get your food. Get to
mhm.
another area where you're not even sitting at the same table with them. If you know you could be
Right.
triggered, don't put yourself in a triggering situation. Go to the patio,
Mhm,
go to the other family room and eat your meal, enjoy yourself. But here's the thing.
mhm.
Keep a neutral face. Cause see, I'm one of them sister girl. I used to be sitting up in the meetings on my job looking at this foolishness like, and see, my face can be read easily. If I'm disgusted and I haven't had a chance to have the conversation with you, that you better believe is
Mm,
coming. But my face could give me away. And I know that. So don't go in with the stink face. You know how you be looking at people like, and see, that's what a lot of sometimes women don't know. Y'all giving up the stink face, and we can see you. I can see you giving me the stink face, and I
mm.
just laugh. I'd be like, oh, oh, but I would conduct it. I would go in knowing that I'm in my eagle phase, honey. I'm in the eagle place. I'm soaring above this. And the chickens can
Mhm,
keep on pecking. Let a chicken be a chicken. You are a
mhm.
eagle. Let a queen be a queen. A peasant is going to be a peasant. And I'm not trying to put nobody down, but some people have
Mm.
peasant behavior. They do. They mad. They
Right.
mad at their own life. It ain't got nothing to do with you. The hell? It ain't got nothing to
Mhm,
do with me. I do not have control over what you're going through. Don't look at me and project
mm,
your distraught and your distress and your hatred on me, because I know if I ain't did nothing to you, that's not my problem. See, we got to learn to let that kind of stuff go too. Because God showed
mhm.
me that. He said, everybody ain't for you. Everybody don't like all this bling. Everybody don't like your nail. Everybody don't like that you got a fabulous husband. And that ain't
Mm,
that's not my problem. I can talk to you about getting one. I can talk to you
mhm,
about talking to God about getting some. I could help you do
mhm.
whatever you need to do. But if you got that energy, I don't want to engage with you. I'm not gonna get
Right.
in the mud spinning around. Those days are gone. And I wouldn't even
Mhm.
get in the mud, but I'll get you together.
Now, for the audience, y'all, I have a question. I want y'all to be honest. Has this ever happened to you? Your thought on it was done to you, and then you had some issues, and you ran into the person, and then all those emotions and all those things kind of came back to you. Have you ever had those type of issues happen to you? In the chat, say yes or no. Have you ever had that? Colette said, "My eyes talk for me. I see through people. They don't like God." Alexander, they said, "It will grow like a wild weed. Yes, it is double-edged sword."
That
So
is
yeah.
true.
So
And ask God for a
yes.
spirit of discernment. I think that's a good thing to do. I love how she just said that your eyes can give you away, but you see people. That
Mm,
both of those comments are factual. Ask
mm,
God to give you a spirit of discernment, and He'll show you people who are for you, and He'll show you the ones that's against you. And that's
right.
okay to keep your distance.
Mm-hmm. Now, carrying unforgiveness can turn into anxiety, depression, and emotional exhaustion. Sometimes we think we've let it go, but our mind and our body are still holding on. So let's talk about how the unresolved hurt can show up in trust issues. It can be guarded hearts or short tempers in new relationships. um I know that happens a lot with people where, like, when you go through things, you ever notice when you talk to some people and they're like, okay, they went through some stuff, right? And so now in their, it may not always be relationship, like husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, it can be friendships, whatever. But because of what you went through with another person, now you can turn it into trust issues. I may not trust people the way I used to trust when it came to dealing with people. Now I'm on guard with people. Or it can be a thing where now I'm guarding my heart because of now I'm like, I don't want nobody else to hurt me. So opposed to me opening up for somebody else to hurt me, I'm going to be closed hearted. I'm having that mindset of I'm going to keep myself guarded. And some people have that mindset of I'm gonna get them before they get me type of mindset. So you be kind of guarded with that. Or you just like
It's
may
true.
have to go, some people may go through depression where they won't take care of themselves, or they may have mental breakdowns. They may just have a lot of, issues going on mentally with them because they've never let those things go because of what they went through. And sometimes they get caught up in hurting other people because, like they say, hurt people. So they
Mm-hmm.
end up hurting other people that didn't even do anything to them, all because of the pain that they're suffering through. So
Mm-hmm.
are you protecting your peace or building a wall? Let's talk
Wow.
about that. Are you protecting your peace or are you building walls?
I think that is
Mm,
really a critical one, sis, because, and I can relate to it because of I have a very generous heart. That's how I've always been. That's how I was the youngest of
mhm,
my family, acting like the oldest, taking care of my elders. This is what I was doing. But what it did for me during the pandemic and how this really hurt me was that because I retired a month before the pandemic hit. And then God was telling me, get
mm,
your money, your ammo, your food. So me and my husband was out here in our brand new house. We are built up. I done retire. I semi telling him he retired because we ain't gonna be out here with these germs. We doing okay. I
mm,
got my money out of the system. And I was literally helping and blessing folks financially. And I'm talking about even
mm,
some people that was in my high school class that I had not fooled with, but because they were going through, they were suffering with some COVID. I covered some folks. I was a blessing to some folks, and even family members, friends, people that I felt needed help.
mm,
Girl, when you talk about how people will show you how much they don't care about you, that's what I
mm,
experienced. Because when I went through my second bout of breast cancer, and for all you ladies and gentlemen, breast cancer awareness ain't just in October, it's all day, every day. Let's stay on top of that. But when I was going through and I did not even get a text or a phone
mm,
call from people that I had literally given hundreds and thousands of dollars to, oh, I was feeling some kind of way. But
mm,
my husband had to bring me out of that. And it was really making me feel like, wow, this how they are. But God was showing me, don't let that affect who you are, because I have a kind heart. I
mhm,
have a loving heart. I'm going to get this rebuilt. My money will come up again. This is how, and what God was
mm,
showing me, and that's why how I blessed y'all. This is how He's blessing us now. And I'm telling you,
mm,
girl, that was a struggle for me. But also, I
mm,
had to look at, will I let somebody else's behavior determine how I'm moving in the world? And I will not.
mm,
I refuse to do that. But was that a lesson to me? Yes. Have I
mm,
taken a mental note? Yes. But that don't mean I won't trust again. That don't mean I won't help folks again. That don't mean I won't give a love offering again to help somebody. But on them particular characters, probably not. But moving forward, I would not let that make me not
Mm-hmm.
be who I am. So that's where we got to have a
Right.
spirit of discernment and don't let somebody else take you out of who your natural spirit is, if that makes sense.
Right. And I had to, I'd say I'm big on that too, because I was like, before we would say words like, okay, I'm never going to do, like, once somebody do something, you're like, oh no, I'm not letting no, you put that guard up. That guard always pop up. But then you have to realize, what person are you really? Like, what type of person are you really? Are you really, like, am I really going to change my whole personality because of one person? Am I really going to change my whole being for one person? Or am I going to really just say, okay, I can't do it for this person, but I'm not going to just like shut down for every other person that come into my life, because now other people that's in my life, we still can be blessings towards each other. However, if I'm so stuck on what this person did to me, I'm never going to open up or never be able to have real good relationships with nobody else, because I'm so stuck on what happened to me with this other person. So that's why I say a lot of times when people have to heal, that's why I say we don't always heal within. Like, we let things go, but we don't actually heal, because the way we may act, or the actions or the things that we may say or do, is stemming from what we went through. And so you may have somebody who may not even have anything to do with what you got even going on. It could, sometimes we reflect off of things that happen to people that's close to us. And it may not even be us that it might have been to directly, but because we're so close to that person, you'd be like, oh, I'm not going to do, and then you get in your feelings, and you getting all emotional because of what happened to that person. Again, that had nothing to do with you. And so that's why I don't agree with that whole thing where people be like, where people feel like, oh, because we're not, like, if I'm cool with you and I have somebody else and that person is not cool with you, I'm just going to stop being cool with you because of that person. No, I have nothing to do with what y'all got going on. I'm not going to be one of those people that's going to bring drama, whereas I know y'all can't get along, then I'm just not going to put y'all in the same facilities. If we trying to do something all together, I'll be like, okay, I'll do the stuff with you and I'll do something else different with that person, unless they're mature enough to be able to be in the same circle with us doing something. However, I know how to keep that separate, but I'm not going to stop saying, oh, I'm never talking to you again because of this person. Like, that's just something that I've never been into. And I've always taught my child the same way. Like, you're not going to stop dealing with somebody because of what somebody else got going on. That's not yours. That's not your battle. That's not your situation.
And
And
that's
sometimes people
powerful.
like to feed. And sometimes people like to feed, I think, too. Because sometimes when people are not cool and close with you, and I watched somebody one time, and it's crazy because I watched this person who would have so much to say. And that's why I say you got to watch your circle. Because this person was talking mad crap about this person. Again, I'm leaving names out. Was mad talking about this person. And then you start seeing this person circled up with this person like a hunt, and you like, huh? What? And then it's like, okay, but then you start realizing this person is not really honest. This person is not really this, because if this person had this much to say about that person, and that person is in their face smiling and joking and hanging out and doing all this kind of stuff, then daggone well they doing the same thing. And then even more, because you start looking at it, you be like, hold on, this person now don't want to talk to you around these people, because now they're looking like, I done said this, that, and the other about this person. So now they scared to talk to you in front of these other people, because they done said so much stuff behind your back that they only can talk to you in private. They only can text you or communicate with you in private, because they scared. Like, okay, you done said all this. Then your cards may open up because of what you was doing.
Yeah.
We said, I said, but get it straight. Okay, I speak what's on my mind, and I know a sneak. I believe in putting people on Front Street. Yeah, because sometimes you have to, but sometimes it's not. To me, I say it's not worth it, because people are going to be who they are, and even if you say something about it, they're going to deny it, and then they just going to sit back, and you're not going to see them anyway, because I feel like those people are going to stay away anyway, because those type of people who are I would say conniving, and people who lie a lot and do connive in different little things, most of the time those type of people are the people who, like I said, will keep their distance because of
And
the
can't
fact
be
that
trusted
they
anyway.
can't stand in front of truth. So if you're a person who has a lying spirit, you can't be in front of truth.
Okay, truth gonna run you about the room. You lying demon.
Because if somebody really start putting the truth, if you put all the people in the same room and then you start looking like, okay, this is A, B, and C, and then you done said something about A, B, and C. Now A, B, and C is standing in front of you. What is you gonna do? But sit there and get quiet,
Yeah.
because then you can't say what you were saying to all these people in silence. You only can say, try to be neutral now, because now you looking crazy, because now you're in front of A, B, and C.
It's all coming to the light. And two things you just had touched on. One of the things was what I had in my mind was, again, not giving up your power, not giving
Mm-hmm.
your power up to other folks that's going to dictate how things are going, especially if they're not trustworthy, right? And then I remember one thing that my first lady, Joy Helena Hamilton, told me one time. She was such a wise queen. And she said one time she was preaching the word. If you have somebody that's coming up to you continually telling you so and so said this about it, it don't even have to be continuous. It could be one time. If they come up to you telling you that so and so said X, Y, and Z about you, they were saying this, they was doing that, they said that you did this, that, and the third. She said, you just listen. And when they get done talking, ask them, what were you saying when they were saying all of this about me? And in
Woo!
that moment, just
Hold
watch
up.
their face. Come on. Ain't that something? She said, in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
ask them, what were you saying when they were saying all of this about me? And then you just be quiet and wait for the answer. And one or two
Mm-hmm.
things are going to happen. Either they're going to start looking like the deer in the headlights, like, oh, dang, I wasn't expecting that question. Or either they're
Mm-hmm.
going to say to you, you know what? I didn't appreciate that conversation and I left. And I
Right.
just wanted you to know this what happened. But one or two things, but that initial reaction on that face don't tell you what they said or did. And I
Mm-hmm.
always remember that. If you come back and tell me a bunch of crap where somebody was talking trash on me, what was you saying?
Mm-hmm.
What was your input in the conversation? Not that it
You
really
know,
mattered.
I stopped communicating with somebody. I stopped communicating with somebody the way I used to communicate with a person, all because of that. Because I felt betrayed. Because I felt like, if this person can come and sit in front of you and have so much to say, and you didn't defend me, and I've always had your back and was there for you, and you didn't defend me, I have a problem with you now, because now I feel like you're not a trustworthy person, because you should have
They gonna do
defended
it
it.
to you.
And it's so funny, because I remember my mom would, like, different people would tell me different things, and I'll be like, okay, I would defend the person. Like, I would be like, oh no, not this person. She ain't, this person is doing this because boom, boom, boom. Like, I'm always giving excuses for people when people say different things. Oh no, it was probably because of this, or it was probably because of that. Like, you're not giving, don't look at this person like that because it's this or this, that. And I always would defend. But then when it came to me, that same person who I was defending like crazy was dogging me out. And I'm like, so now it was like, okay, I have to cut ties with certain people, because I'm like, first of all, I have to cut both ties with people, because the first person, I'm connected to you. You know me longer. I've met you way beforehand. The other person I really didn't know as long. However, I was defending both of y'all behind y'all back. And so I'm defending y'all behind y'all back, and y'all bashing me behind mine. So that makes me look crazy. And then on another note, when we talk about forgiveness, and not to get so personal, but when we talk about forgiveness, and I say this, I'm gonna say how Farrakhan would say, I'm gonna say this in love. But
Let me hold your hand. Let me hold your hand.
but sometimes I feel like, a lot of times we go through things in life and with people, and because we don't talk about things and we stay silent, that people don't really always know what's going on, but they don't know the hurt and pain that you've been through with a person. And because they only see the glory sides of things, they assume and they feel like they can judge on how you should feel, whether it happened 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I don't care how long something has happened. If that pain is still inside of you, you can't tell a person how they should be responding to a person. And that's one thing that I don't agree with. I don't agree with anybody telling somebody they should get over something. I don't agree with that. I don't care how long it's been, whether it's death, whether it's pain from a person hurting their feelings, whether it's pain from, abuse, physical or verbal, like different things that a person can do. You can have those feelings, and sometimes those feelings don't go for a long time, and then you get in situations, because I'm gonna be honest, and I'm just gonna put it out there. There's a person that I know that has done some things towards me, and it's like I pray, like when things are going on with this person, I'm like, dang, I never wish bad on a person. However, it's like I feel like God has a way of recycling things. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to how things are coming about. If I sit back and I'm sitting here and I'm praying on something to happen to you, or I'm pushing things that not go good for you in your life, and I'm doing things to cut you and be cutthroat towards you in your life, and then all of a sudden all these things start happening to me in my life, sometimes I feel like that can be karma. Because at the end of the day, if a good person is being good towards you, and like I say, a lot of times I stay silent. I don't say a lot, and I don't put people, like I said, I've been leaving names out, a whole lot of stuff right now, because I really could be out there. But I'm gonna have a book come out later. but I say that to say that a lot of times people don't understand what you've been through, so they go through assumptions, and they start assuming that, oh, well, this person is this and this person is that. And like we talked about earlier, when me and you was talking, and we was talking about, and I was saying how I was like talking about my child's father or whatever. And remember how I told you back then, I was like, I could see him, walk in front of him, see him, and nothing would bother me. I don't have no ill feelings or nothing, because I'm so over that situation. However, before I would have felt some type of way. But the one thing that I did is I focused my energy into my business. And so that's why I'm like, a lot of times we use things in life to keep our minds from going, keep it moving into other things, opposed to sitting there focusing on stuff that is not going to be worth focusing on. Because if I would have sat still and I just sitting there like, oh, this, oh, that, oh, woe is me type of thing, where would I be now? You see what I'm saying? It's like sometimes you have to take those situations and you have to say, okay, I have to live for, I have a child. I have to live for my child. I never want to let my child see me sitting here depressed and moping and feeling like I can't move on and I can't grow and I can't finish. So that's why it was in me to always, number one, complete. Because I was always about completion. I wanted her to grow up knowing that whatever you get yourself into, I want you to finish it. So that is why I said people don't learn by what you say, they learn by what you do. And so if I'm your mom and I'm not showing you that I can finish and I can complete things, what makes me think that you're going to do it? So that's why I was like, I didn't finish school. So how can I tell you to finish school? I have to do it. So that's me completing it. So I have to put that in front of your face, because if I don't want you to be sitting here whimpering, and I want you to make sure you got your own and doing your own thing, because I don't want you to be sitting there dependent on no man. So if I'm sitting here dependent on a man or sitting here whimpering and doing all that, then that's something that she's going to do. But if I'm not doing that and she see I'm grinding, and I like I tell people, you can be in a relationship. Relationship is supposed to be your bonus. It's not supposed to be your all. If you can't do anything, if both of y'all have to be able to come to the table, not just one. It shouldn't be no one person at the table doing anything. Like, y'all need to come together to be able to take care of some stuff. And if you sitting here and all you care about is getting your nails and hair done and going out and turning up, like, we have to have a different mind shift. And so, like I told me and my boyfriend was talking the other day, and I told him, I said, we sit back and we talk about a lot of things. And I laugh because I remember years ago, my brother used to get on me about, even with school, like, you need to finish, and this, that, and the other. And then even when it comes to business and stuff, and I'm like, I didn't before have the full mindset of it until later on. but things happen in our lives. And that's why I say God put things in our lives for us because he knows what steps he wants us to go in. He put that in my life because he wanted not for me to fall apart, but he wanted to make me stronger. And that's what made me stronger because me going through all of these different things, it's like, okay, now I'm focused and I'm moving. But if I would have stayed stuck and complacent in that situation, then I would have been like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God, I moved away from all my family and friends. I'm all the way out here and I don't have, then I would have been just mentally going through it and keep going through it. However, I still go through things that may have happened in the past, and those things can never be solved because the people who that's why I asked that question, because the things that I have with those few people who needs to be fixed don't feel like they do anything wrong. So when you feel like you did nothing wrong and you feel like you didn't cause anything and you can't fix anything, then that healing can never really be there. You see what I'm saying? Like if you did something to me and I come to you and tell you about it and I'm hurt about it, I'm crying to you, telling you this hurt me, this is painful to me, and I want you to help me get through this, or let's fix this, or can we talk about this and why? And like now, because I started looking more on the mental side, I started looking like, why did this person do this? How was their upbringing? What happened to them as a kid? On why they? And that's what I realized, that some people in life, they don't fix their life off of what they saw. Like if you had a bad relationship with your parents wasn't there for you. Your parents was drunk, your parents was drug addicts, your parents was alcoholics, and then you turn around and do the same thing. All you're doing is repeating what you saw, instead of trying to fix that and say, okay, I need to change this situation and I need to do something different because I don't want my child to grow. And so that's why I feel like we need to start focusing more on how we can fix things for our future and our kids' future, as opposed to still living in the past and living in what we saw and trying to change that and change that narrative. Because that's what I think a lot of people's problems are. They don't change the narrative. They just keep the
And they
consistency.
just caught in the cycle. Because
Mhm,
what really just dropped in my spirit right then, when you said, because you could go to them and you wanting to have it resolved, and then they not being available to do that, and so forth, right? But here's the thing again, we are no longer in the rest of this quarter of 2025 and into 2026 and beyond. We will no longer give our power away. We will
mhm,
not allow somebody else's experience, they lack of empathy, sympathy, just whatever is going on with them, control and dictate our lives. We
mhm,
can no longer do that. When you give somebody else that power and authority, they may be good people, they may appreciate and do some good with it, but they could be little Chuckies from the pit of hell, and they gonna run you down until they can't ride you no more. I'm
mhm,
telling you, you got to be aware. You can't give that power away. But here was something that I realized several years back when I was trying to sever this relationship with this toxic family member.
mhm,
And the thing was, what God gave me, I always had this expectation because I had two older sisters. I wanted my relationships with my sisters to be loving and be protective and kind to me and all of
mhm,
that. It wasn't never that. It wasn't that when I was 5. It wasn't that when I turned 50. And now
mhm,
I'm 62. It ain't never been that. And what God had to show me and said to me, I audibly heard it. Stop having expectations of people, because if you no longer have an expectation of somebody, you will never be disappointed.
mhm.
Now, let's think about that.
Facts.
If I
Facts.
don't expect you to be this kind of way, if I don't expect you to do this when I'm feeling like that, if I wipe that out, then you cannot disappoint me,
Exactly.
because a lot of people cannot even reach our level of expectation. Oh,
Mhm,
Jesus. I'm telling you, when I got that in my spirit, now that go for family members, boyfriends, husbands. I think if it's your husband, you connected, y'all need to take that to Jesus together and get that worked out. But
mhm,
all them other external relationships, don't be coming up in here with all your expectations. because you can get a bloody nose, your spirit gonna be broken, you're gonna be curled up in a knot in the bed talking about why don't they understand? Because they don't care. Some of them do not care, but some of them do. That's why you need to communicate. But I will never again in my life put a level of my expectation up on anybody. Either you gonna show me you with me or you show me you not. Either you are eagle or you a chicken. It's okay. But with my husband, we have come to Jesus meetings. If we ever have disagreements, or I feel we're not on the same page, hey, let's have a come to Jesus meeting. Let's sit down and talk about this. And see, I say sit down because I can't have a man stand up over me talking to me. See, that was from a childhood trauma that I was seeing my aunties and them get abused. See, that's another conversation for another day. But when I'm having conversation and I want to share what I'm feeling and I want to hear what you're feeling, let's sit down. Let's come to the same level. Let's get God in the middle of this and talk about what it is. See, I had to learn that. And girl, they've been so good. I don't have no issues with it. My husband ain't got no issues with it. But I don't just put my level of expectation on him. And I don't expect him to adopt mine.
Right.
If it's going to advance this household, we going to meet up here in this middle. Or he can hear me and I can hear him. But not just automatically, you got the expectation. Expectation, nothing, because you were disappointed. Ask me how I know. I know this for a fact. Because people be lying and clucking and pecking, and they ain't got the truth in them. And you expected them to be this or that.
Right.
And they was lying all the while. I'm just saying, this from an old bird over here. This from an old eagle over here. Okay?
You know, it's funny because my mom always used to say, she would say, like, she can go in a room and she can tell how people, like, she used to use the word where she would say, I forgot how she worded it, but she would say, like, she can tell a person how they stay or what they're about when she walk into the room just by their demeanor or how they stay or whatever. She would say, I can feel it. And then my friend Nikki, she would say the same thing, like they can watch and monitor how somebody is. And that I felt like for a while, I was like, dang, I must don't have, like, I think I was just always so open at one point because I was always, and so like I was, right. And so I would allow people in and they're always letting them in. And then it's like, okay, now, and then my mom would be like, oh no, I done told you. And, you know, like she would be up, like letting me know. And she like, cause I can see through, you know, what she would say a little different, you know.
Right.
I can see
we got to pray and we got to ask and tell these young women, young men, pray about it. Ask God to give you a spirit of discernment. You can pick up on it when you walk in the room. You can pick up on it when you walk in the room. Just by the looks that you're going to get. If you get that up and down in that face, oh, I see you, boo-boo. I'm going to smile and keep moving. And if they trying to manipulate you, at that one point in time when I put a marriage together that was not ordained by God, I'm inviting a chicken to my table that didn't bring nothing but a fork and a knife and an empty plate. Don't do that. Don't do that. When you believe in the story that they telling you, no, a spirit of discernment will weed out chickens.
Right.
I agree with your mom wholeheartedly. Moms know, we know what's
happening. Now, they say forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or allowing access. It means freeing yourself. So steps to start and releasing is acknowledging the pain, expressing it, setting boundaries, and letting go of needed apologies. Like even if, like what you said, is sometimes it may not always be there. And then we have to add a spiritual and motivational angle onto it, how forgiveness can be part of the healing and growth of the journey. So we can walk into the next season like saying, you know, I'm not chained to my last year. I'm moving forward into a new light. I'm moving toward I'm a new me. So like they say, when they say new month, new day, new me, new everything. So like we going in, like we're about to go into 2026. We shuck. In literally 2 days, we are in November 1st with 2 more months left to the year. And we about to start something all together, a whole new year. And so it's like with things that we've gone through in life, like we talk about the bad, we talk about the good. However, we have to appreciate those bad things that happen in life, because those bad things that happen in life, they weren't by just by chance. Those things happen because they wanted to teach you a lesson or make you stronger. And so I always say, I learned so many lessons in life. I have became stronger off of the things that happened. And so that's why I say, don't get so discouraged, people, when y'all go through things, because in life, those things happen. I always believe everything happens for a reason. And those reasons is for those two things, to make you stronger or teach you a lesson. And even with bringing people into your life, sometimes those people, like Tyler Perry made that comment that time. He said, sometimes people are in your life for a season. And once that season is over, it's time for them to be out of your life, because they was only meant for that season. They wasn't meant to be there full term. They was only meant for a season. And so sometimes we just have to really just focus and let people know, like, okay, you were here, you were my winter, but now spring is here. You're no longer part of my life anymore. The wind has blown away.
That snow is melted. Okay.
And so now it's time to move on.
Oh,
So
girl, that's so good. That's so good. Listen, what I just wrote down, because I had to get this. When you just said that, I wrote down no losses. Everybody always talking about the L, the L, the L. No losses. These are lessons. Okay. These are lessons. And that a lot of time, my husband would tell me this all the time. My past situations in relationship, those were just placeholders to get me to here right now. And see, the pain, that pain will bring you to your purpose if you allow it. The pain can
right,
run you right into your purpose. And then what I used to always say, everybody ain't for a lifetime. Some folks are a reason, they are a season, and some folks, but not everybody, is a lifetime. And that's okay, because if they not even a lifetime, it was about the purpose. You went
right,
through something with them, but it still catapulted you into your purpose, your destiny.
right.
Embrace the destiny. Woo, Jesus,
Yes.
girl. He's not here to save everybody. I am
Yes.
not that person anymore. That's Jesus' job. He
Right.
told me, stay in your lane. I am the Lord your God. I save people. You
Mhm,
can assist, you can give a testimony, you can disciple folks to me, but it ain't my job to save nobody. But
mhm,
I will give you a word about what he's done for me. And
mhm.
when I was a wretch undone, and I'm talking about just not being saved. I ain't never been that bad, but I told you I was a verbal assassin.
Because I said, never put the keys in your happiness in someone else's pocket.
Oh, I love.
Mm.
Look, you gonna get a mic drop on that. Whoever that said that. Oh, that was good. Oh, that was good.
Yes. But we have been, we done had y'all on here. We done talk about all kind of stuff, y'all. Tonight was heavy but healing. So if
Yeah.
this conversation touched you, remember, forgiveness isn't about pretending it didn't happen. It's about choosing peace over pain. Choosing peace over pain. So stop carrying what no longer serves you, whether you talk to them again or not. Set yourself free. We want y'all to drop one word in the comment. What does forgiveness look like for you right now? Drop it in the comments. Put it in there. Just let me know, what does forgiveness look like for you right now? Because I'm just curious to see what y'all feel about forgiveness. Um, Put it in the comments. And always, thank you for tuning in to Talk It Out with D&D. Real talk, real woman, real growth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you missed any part of tonight's live, catch the replay on our YouTube channel at Talk It Out with DD. So until next time, continue talking it out and keep healing through it. And we see y'all next Thursday And we're going to be better next week. We tried to get on TikTok, but TikTok wasn't our friend tonight. It just kept error. So that's why we had to switch it. But next week, we will figure it out. We're going to make sure we put it out there ahead of time for y'all. And I thank y'all again for tuning in. And until next Thursday, have a great weekend, everyone, and stay warm.
Love ya.